Something that's making a lot of headlines in the last year or so are data centers. The city of St. Louis debated them. St. Charles is debating them. Jefferson County is debating them. I believe your company's been connected to a couple of these. Is St. Louis too cautious when it comes to this technology?
It's misinformation. We need to embrace new industries, new businesses. We cannot continue to be the city of lost opportunities. The railroads got pushed back from the community in the early 1900s, and the railroad companies all went to Chicago. The airport had a hard time getting a transportation plan together that would provide a new runway, and eventually TWA went out of business and we lost our airport hub. So many things in St. Louis, so many opportunities, and so little gained from those opportunities because they all went someplace else. This is all just a reaction to not having a strategy. Data centers are going to be fundamental to everything that happens in our lives.
Clark and Clayco made headlines in late 2023, announcing its St. Louis operations scattered across the area would move into one new facility in St. Louis County. Located in Berkeley, off 70 and North Hanley Road, Clark says the move doubled down on St. Louis, breathing new life into the former Express Scripts facility. Coincidentally enough, Clayco actually built more than a decade earlier. While this isn't about downtown specifically, it is about the region. Clark says it's about Clayco putting its money where its mouth is. Clark even capitalizing on its location by Lambert Airport, opting to paint a massive Clayco logo on the roof to catch flyers on their way in and out of town. Clark says when a region is aligned, he invests in it. And that investment signals something to other business leaders that if Clayco is betting on St. Louis, those companies need to as well.
During that mayoral campaign, I believe you made the promise that if Kara Spencer won, that you would move an office downtown, bring other companies with you. Yeah. That hasn't happened yet. Why not?
Well, it hasn't been that long, first of all. And like the mayor, Clayco's time and attention has been spent on the tornado. Moving people downtown is still a priority, and I still think it's a big idea. There's a lot to be optimistic about, and I think this idea of going and taking back some of the territory downtown is a good idea, and we will act on it.
As soon as a May 16th tornado hit North St. Louis, Clark says Clayco got to work with local businesses and community partners, coordinating with Mayor Spencer and city services in North City. The company says its commitment doesn't stop at immediate relief. They're also helping fund and staff long-term rebuilding with community programs like Albion and Wash U, all aimed at keeping the city moving forward and improving quality of life.
Is downtown St. Louis still part of your vision for St. Louis's future, or has that changed?
Downtown has to be a part of the solution. Downtowns are still crucial to every community in the country that is doing well. Downtowns are playing a major role in that. So I think, even though Clayton has become kind of the geographic center, I think there's still a great deal to gain from having the city as kind of the epicenter.
For Clark, the issue isn't talent, it's timing, and whether St. Louis can still compete in a world that does not wait.
When we say move St. Louis forward, we're talking about identifying those issues, but we're talking about those solutions. What responsibility do you feel in helping reach those solutions because of your success?
I think tremendous responsibility. I have tremendous responsibility to it.
Have you done enough?
None of us have done enough. I do a lot. I wouldn't beat myself up over it. I think getting involved in the mayor's race, I'm going to be very involved in the county executive race. And I think that getting the politics right in the community is really, really crucial. And I think being outspoken as a business person, I think the whole business community needs to speak up. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
You're telling your peers right now that you need to speak up.
Absolutely. And I've been saying it, loud and often. The business community is the center of gravity for everything that happens in a successful city.
That is just a small part of my talk with Bob Clark. The man is on a mission. Tomorrow on Forward, Bob and I go to the tornado strike zone in North City. He says it's his fellow businessmen and women that have to step up to help rebuild.
It's going to take teamwork. Big problems with teams of people can all be solved. I always start from nothing. You start from the ground and then you build and, eventually you have the arch.
And one of those business moguls is stepping up, working to build a better St. Louis, like the way they've built a now global icon formed in the Lou.